Hi, everybody. My name is Matthew Albrecht, and I am a certified functional medicine health coach and researcher and studier of nutrition. And I wanted to make this video today. My page is called Nourish Yourself Whole, and I wanted to share with all of you a little bit more about some nutrition, like what you can do to keep yourself healthy in this challenging time. And I know many of us are feeling deeply concerned about the coronavirus pandemic, which is hitting so hard right now. I certainly am. So I'm doing this live video today to try to help positively contribute to keeping ourselves as healthy as we can through it. First, I'll say it's important that we not panic and that we also all carefully follow public health advice. I won't be getting into all that as there's ample information out there. What I'd like to do is explore how we can all work to keep ourselves broadly healthy so that, God forbid, if we catch the virus, our body's in better shape to handle it. This is, of course, good advice all the time to help stave off disease and create abundant and vibrant health regardless. So while many of us are isolating to better protect ourselves and our loved ones and to keep the virus from spreading too rapidly, we can look at this as a good opportunity to take this extra time, many of us suddenly have, to make some positive life changes, to really take stock of our life, of what we most need to tend to live a healthier life. And of course, nutrition's a critical part of that. As they say, we are what we eat. And our body and our immune system in particular are, of course, deeply affected by nutrition. It can be boosted by the good things we eat, but also stunted by the bad stuff. And especially right now, we want to minimize the bad stuff. So today, I want to talk about a few things that are a few of the most highly leveraged things that you can do to create good health. I'm just going to be giving the highlights here, but I want everyone to know that I also have a free guide available with the tips that I'm going to be sharing in this live video in much more depth. You can download the free guide on my website, or if you prefer, I also recorded an MP3. You can listen to that, and you can find this and a lot of other good resources that I'll be talking about on my website, and that's at nourishyourselfwhole.com/resources. So again, www.nourishyourselfwhole.com/resources. And that's WHOLE, just like in the title of my page. And then, at the end of this, I'm going to go through some of the stuff here. And at the end, if anybody has questions, I'm happy to answer those too, if desired. So first, I'm going to do a quick overview of what I'll talk about, and then I'll dive into each area more deeply. So again, I'll mostly be talking about nutrition and how eating well during this time can help boost your whole body and immune system's functioning. Although I'll also share some additional important lifestyle tips as well towards the end. But basically what you want to eat healthy so that your immune system is in peak working condition. The goal is to eat loads of nutrient-dense foods, whole foods, that are anti-inflammatory, as ongoing rampant systemic inflammation is really the hotbed for many diseases and is not good to have going on in your body while you have a virus or trying to prevent catching one. While inflammation is an important part of the immune system when we're sick, we don't want it running hot all the time. Inflammation really does tax our immune system when it runs rampant. So as we get our body in good shape for things like this coronavirus, we want it to be able to maximally work on the acute issues that do sometimes arise, like coronavirus and other issues. So first, we'll talk about what you should be doing in a good diet. And this includes eating a whole foods, nutrient-dense diet. And by whole foods, I don't mean the store. I mean real solid whole foods that come from the earth, not from laboratories and chemically processed. Also eating loads of anti-inflammatory vegetables and some fruit, which we'll talk about why those are so important for keeping you healthy. I'll mention a few herbs and supplements that also might be good to include right now, things that are healthy to boost your immune system and might be helpful with viruses. I'll also talk about some good comfort foods, substitutes and healthier cheats that are better than what I know some of you are wanting to be chowing down on right now while you're dealing with all this anxiety, which is understandable, but we do want to keep ourselves healthy, and I'll talk about some of the healthier alternatives that are still really tasty and delicious that you can do while you're hunkered down and holed up. And I know for myself, I know this is a very emotionally trying time. So we'll talk just a bit about stress reduction and tools to help tend to anxieties and fears. And then I'll also talk some about the things that you do not want to be eating. Very, very important, especially things like sugar, refined carbs, and bad fats, which are all highly inflammatory and create a lot of trouble in our bodies and can make us more susceptible to getting sick. So let's dig in and explore some of these things. And again, at the end, if you feel inspired, if you have any questions, feel free to ask questions or make any comments, and I'll try to dive in. And I'll continue to answer questions as people post to this video with things that I know and can help with. So the first and probably by far the most important thing that overlies all of this is to eat a whole foods, nutrient-dense diet. This is incredibly important because highly processed foods are pro-inflammatory and unhealthy. The additives and preservatives work against our thriving health in a myriad of ways and can destroy good probiotic gut bacteria, which we know are critical to a healthy immune system. You know, for millions of years, we evolved eating a diet based on these whole foods, not, Cheetos and soda, which are the kinds of things far too many of us eat now. Whole foods, by the way, here means foods that are as unprocessed as possible. So for instance, it might be a salad of mixed greens, blueberries, sunflower seeds, shredded carrots, avocado, radishes, your favorite protein. These would all be whole foods, while something like, say, a boxed toaster pastry full of highly milled and processed flour, sugar, and artificial flavor additives is definitely not. And I would say a good rule of thumb that a lot of functional medicine and nutritional health experts say is that if there are more than 5 ingredients listed on the label, and or especially if you can't pronounce them or would need a translation, then it's best to skip it. And when you're in the grocery stores, it's great to actually shop on the perimeter. That is where most of the whole foods are. If you think about it, when you go around the grocery store, you'll see vegetables and fruit, of course. You see the meats and dairy. That's where you have the whole solid foods. In the center aisles, those are typically where you see most of the processed foods that are going to have a lot of chemical ingredients and sugar additives and bad, cheap fats, both of which we'll talk about in just a minute. Those are things that are not good for your health. So again, I know this is especially a time when people want comfort foods to soothe anxiety and fears, but we won't be doing ourselves a lot of favors if we cave too much into this. I do, again, have a very nice list of alternative cheats, I call them, on my website that offer better options for the fun stuff that we all love, but shouldn't indulge too heavily in. You can find it, again, on my website, www.nourishyourselfwhole.com/resources. It includes healthier flours and sweet sugar alternatives and other good stuff that could make the transition into healthier eating easier, but still be a lot healthier on your body. I even have links to some of the stuff you can order right off of Amazon from it's called, on that resources page, it's called the Healthy Foods Shopping List, and you can check that out. So the next area I want to talk about, a sip of water, hydrate, very important. But the next main topic is to eat loads of fruits and vegetables. And we of course hear about this all the time, but I want to talk a little bit about why this is so important right now, especially. And of course, with fruits and vegetables right now, you want to wash them very well during the virus time, especially fresh fruits and vegetables. But cooking them will also kill viruses. Just be mindful and careful. But so important to eat them. Don't skip out on them. So, in modern life, we are faced with far too many toxins and irritants, and typically not enough nutrients to help counteract them all. For everything from air quality to chemicals and pesticides on foods and all of the products that we use on our body, that we're just pummeled like no other time in history. And the good news is, though, however, is that fresh vegetables and fruits are chock full of nourishment called micronutrients, which include vitamins and minerals, which of course you've heard of, and then other things you might not have, like antioxidants and phytonutrients. There are literally thousands of different phytonutrients, tens of thousands, I think hundreds of thousands, in various fruits and vegetables that are really important to health. They also provide quality fiber and some wholesome carbohydrates for energy. These nutrients within them provide critical support for the body's vast array of working systems deep down at the cellular level. So I'll just give you a little list of things that they can help us with. They convert food into energy. They repair cellular damage, heal wounds, strengthen bones, clean up damage done by bad fats and sugar, and then a whole host of environmental toxins. They actually the antioxidants attach to things like free radicals and toxins and literally shuffle them out of the body. They're the best way to detox your body from environmental toxins and are helpful with viruses too. They support a functioning immune system. This is just among many other crucial supports for our body's needs. And as I said, sadly, more than a third of our population, some studies show over half, are deficient even in basic vitamins and minerals, much less the really robust amount of these phytonutrients that we need from a colorful variety of fruits and vegetables. So, as I said, veggies and fruits are also anti-inflammatory. All these antioxidants, again, they help wrangle pro-inflammatory free radicals out of the body. Free radicals you might have heard of. These are a hotbed for disease. You might have heard of them related to cancer, but they're also behind a lot of other health challenges that we face as well. You want to really eat as many vegetables as you can possibly consume each day. 6 to 10 servings is a good target to hit. Fruit as well, though they are higher in sugar, so you want to be mindful of how much you're eating. But 1 to 2 servings a day is typically plenty for most, and again, there's lots of nutrients in them. And the sugar isn't as bad because it's attached to fiber, which helps shuffle it through the body without spiking your blood sugar, which is a problem. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. You also want to eat a rainbow of colors, as all these colors carry different types of phytonutrients and antioxidants. And again, as I said, there's so many of them. And so the different colors will give you all kinds of different health benefits. And by the way, generally speaking, it's best to steam or gently saute or bake your vegetables, not boil them. Boiling them can leach out a fair amount of vitamins and nutrients into the boiled water, so that the resulting vegetables aren't really as nutritionally dense. So it's better to steam, gently saute or bake them. And finally, it's great to eat loads of spices and herbs, as these are super nutrient dense foods. They're also naturally antimicrobial. So with things like rosemary, thyme, ginger, oregano, onions, garlic. Garlic's great right now, as it's a very strong antiviral qualities. But with garlic, a really important point, when you cook with it, you want to first crush or chop it and then let it sit out in the air for before cooking for at least 10 minutes. What that does is it protects one of the most powerful chemicals in garlic called allicin and others. It protects it. When you heat it too quickly, it kills that really, really good ingredient. It still has other health benefits, but if you let it sit out for 10 minutes before cooking with it, you'll get a lot more of the beneficial allicin and other ingredients in it. So fresh herbs, again, generally have more nutrients, but dried ones are still a good choice too. Just get plenty of fruits and vegetables in your diet and you'll do great. Okay, our next big category is to make sure you're eating plenty of healthy fats and reducing the bad fats. So healthy fats in your diet, I know they've been demonized for a long time, but fat is a really critical and important part of your body. They can help lower your risk of heart disease and stroke, again, when they're healthy fats, not bad fats. They can reduce unwanted inflammation and blood pressure, decrease bad LDL cholesterol levels, while also, though, increasing the good HDL. They promote healthy functioning of the brain and nervous system. They help balance metabolism and help establish healthy weight. They're good for absorption of some critical vitamins too, like the essential fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, among many other good benefits. So that is some of what good fats can help with. On the other hand, the highly processed, easily oxidizable, inflammatory, industrial vegetable seed oils, which we've been told for decades are better for us, are actually a big villain. So here we're talking about canola, soy, corn oils, safflower, sunflower oil, and other so-called safe fats. These are actually highly inflammatory and very easily oxidized, which creates those free radicals in the body I talked a bit about earlier, which, when your body's overrun, this can cause disease and certainly suppress your immune system. So this is especially true with hydrogenated and trans fats. We don't want any foods with those in them. And most processed foods will have some hydrogenated fats in there. It might say partially hydrogenated. Even when it says 0, though, there can be a little bit, like up to 0.5 grams, and that adds up. And this is an important time to make sure we're not getting those inflammatory fats in our body when we're trying to build up resistance to this virus or keep our bodies in healthy shape so that if we get it, we can function properly. So this is really important. Now, good quality fats, they're not only essential to our existence, they're great for our immune system. And here we're talking about olive, coconut, avocado, sustainably sourced palm oil, nuts and seeds, and even some quality animal fats like egg yolks, butter, whole milk fats, which can include quality cheeses and ghee. So these are examples of whole food based fats. And you can either eat them whole or you can use the oils. It's important to note that when you're not eating a source directly from the whole food, the oils, the independent oils, should be attained through expeller pressed methods. That's where the oil is extracted from the nut or the seed in one step, and it relies on force, and it pushes and forces the oil out. So examples of this are eating olive and avocado oil rather than eating the whole fruit, and both have benefits. But just make sure you get the expeller pressed oils, as they're generally healthy and provide a nourishing food when expeller pressed. Industrial vegetable seed oils, though, are typically extracted through chemical processes, often using toxic substances to get the oil out of a non-traditional fat source, as I mentioned them earlier. And again, I have that list on my website, on the links that I've mentioned, nourishyourselfwhole.com/resources. If you download my ebook called Your Path to Vibrant Health, I have lists of all these good and bad sources of fat, and even other resources within that, a lot more than is here. So again, before I finish up fats, I want to say one of the very worst things you can possibly do to harm your health is to eat fried foods, deep fried foods, especially those fried in industrial seed vegetable oils that I described. These oils are already oxidized and damaged even before they're used, but that only builds up, like if you go to a restaurant, because they can use these fats and these oils for up to a week. So, and heat is a big reason these bad oils and good oils can produce these free radicals when they get heated constantly. They get oxidized and produce free radicals in our body. So if you are unlucky enough to happen to have your fried food at the end of a cycle before they change it out, you're really doing damage to your body. So that's probably the most important thing you could do for your health, is to literally never eat deep fried foods, especially out from a restaurant. If you're doing them on your own and you're doing it in a healthier fat like avocado or olive oil. I mean, not olive oil. You don't want to do that. It's a lower heat threshold. But coconut is decent. Some of the tallows, beef tallow. There are certain things that can function better with fried foods. So next, let's talk about some other important things to cut out of your diet. So I was talking mostly, except for the fats, about things to include. Now I want to talk about what to make sure you get out of your diet. You want to really reduce sugar and refined carbs and flours from your diet. Sugars are one of the most pro-inflammatory foods that we eat. They mess up our insulin resistance, which isn't good, and it's a cause of diabetes and contributes to high cholesterol and heart disease, among other issues. It also tends to screw up metabolism, which is a really big part of weight gain. And the problem with refined carbohydrates, like flours that are made for bread and pastas and bagels and cereals and all that kind of stuff, is that they turn rapidly into sugar in your body once they're eaten. It's called glucose, what it converts into. And we didn't evolve eating these kind of cheap foods, and our bodies really are not equipped to handle them, especially at the pace that we eat them. So if you want to stave off disease and work to keep yourself running in optimal shape, it's essential to cut these substances back and out of your diet. I don't eat much refined sugar and very little refined carbs and flours. I actually try not to eat many grains either, as they all turn into sugar in your blood at some point. But if you do decide to eat whole grains, eat grains, try to eat whole grains. Or, better yet, try some of the healthier cheats that I have on my website, on my, again, at that resources page on my website, nourishyourselfwhole.com. You'll see I have a shopping list, and you can look at it to give you, help you find things that you can make without as much of the bad side effects, good alternatives and cheats. Some of these include flours like cassava, coconut, almond, which are all three really tasty. Cassava, I think, is the most like a traditional flour, white flour, and very tasty. It doesn't spike your blood sugar. Almond can be delicious for like cookies and cakes, really moist and really, really good. I make almond flour chocolate chip cookies a lot with a low sugar, and people love them. They can't believe how good they are. And then let's see. Yeah, they don't spike your blood sugar. There's also some sugar alternatives on that list too that aren't as bad. Like you can get good quality stevia, monk fruit sweeteners. By the way, stevia, a lot of people don't like they think it has an aftertaste. That usually means you're getting a cheap brand. You want to get a whole source of stevia, a really good quality stevia, and it doesn't have that bad aftertaste. And it doesn't take very much, and it can taste really nice. Again, monk fruit sweetener is pretty good. And occasionally you can have things like maple syrup and honey, in smaller amounts. You want to keep it all low. And one of the worst things you can do is to eat high fructose corn syrup, which is in most processed foods, and it's in like sodas, things like that. That spikes your blood sugar really fast and really high when you eat a lot of it, especially with other carbs and sugars. So listen, I know cravings can be hard, especially when you're used to eating this stuff. So using some of these healthier alternatives that I mentioned can be really helpful. And again, the list is on my website if you want to look at them. And try them out. They're good. And they even if you go to Whole Foods or stores like that, they have a lot of these alternatives where they make things pre-made with some of these ingredients now that are healthier, and you can just have it for a quick, snack where you don't want to make a cake or something. Also, when you start to eat healthier, the good news is the cravings for the junk can really fade as your body gets used to the more complex and rich flavors of whole foods. Once you make these shifts, the flavors of whole foods have a lot more room to dance around on your tongue, not just get blown out by all the hyper palatable flavors that food manufacturers pump into the highly processed foods. They do it to make them more addictive and to increase their shelf life, so they can just sit on those shelves forever and make more profits. And we didn't evolve eating any of this junk. And I've found that now I really appreciate the delicious flavors from so many things that that I wouldn't have before. I can taste it more without all the competing chemicals that come in the highly processed foods. So finally, on the cut back category, I would say, again, it's important to cut back or even cease right now alcohol and drugs. These are immune suppressants, and they make our body work very hard to have to clean itself up after the alcohol and drugs. So I know this is hard for some, especially when stress is high like right now, but take it as an opportunity to fill the space with healthier activities, which I'll talk about some in a minute or two. I know that this can be easier said than done. I decided myself to cut way back on wine for a while, and it's a delicate time, but and I want to keep myself healthy, so I'm going to really take it on right now so that my immune system is ready for what's coming and for the loved ones around me. So a few more things before I wrap this up. These are a few additional immune boosting food-based protocols that could be helpful during this time. One is of probiotics and probiotic-rich foods. Your gut is the hub of much of your immune system. And so you want it to be operating and functioning as well as possible. So we have trillions of these microbes that live inside our body and do many, many good functions to it. So it can be a good time to take a good source of probiotics, or even better yet, eat some probiotic-rich foods like sauerkrauts, kimchi. There's beverages like kefir. These are foods, the sauerkrauts in particular have a wide, robust variety of the probiotics in them. And what I'm talking about here is not like something that's out on the shelf that's just out non-temperature controlled. Those are just they use vinegars, and they're delicious, but they're not probiotic rich. You have to look for one that says probiotic rich food on the label, and you can find them usually in the refrigerator sections of most grocery stores. Yogurt can be good too. Another thing that can be good are things like elderberry syrup. It's a really good immune boosting tool. Zinc is great. Echinacea. These are some that they're looking at for coronavirus's potential to be really helpful. Garlic's another one. The allicin, if you can find a high allicin based garlic supplement. So those are some really good things. Some other important lifestyle supports, which a lot of us know, and I'm not going to get too deep into most of these, but I want to bring them up because it's so important right now when we have this emotionally charged moment that we have things that can help us. So you of course want to get plenty of rest. It's important to have 8 hours of sleep. That is where our immune system can reset, recalibrate, and recharge for the next day. You want to keep hydrated, drink lots of water, teas, not much fruit juice. It's very high in sugar, spikes your blood sugar, creates the inflammation, creates the inflammatory response. Really avoid fruit juices. If you do like whole veggie and fruit smoothies, that can be great, but not the juices. And it's an important time to just exercise, of course, by the way. Any aerobic activity you can do at home is great. But it's an important time too to just take care of your body, mind, and spirit. Not get into too much panic. If you're at home and you're stuck at home, you can't go to work. If you're in a community like mine, I'm in Oakland, California, and we've shut things down essentially, where we pretty much can't leave the house except for essential tasks. I have some time now, so I'm doing a little extra yoga. That's one of my favorite things to do. It really helps train the breath and the body and builds muscle tone and really calms me down. Some other good things are Tai Chi and Qigong. Meditation can be great. Prayer, of course, can be very calming for people. There's loads of YouTube videos that you can watch and channels for guided meditations or a beginning yoga class or Tai Chi, things you could do at home. There's also great apps for phones, things like Calm is a good one, or Headspace. These have guided meditations. You can do breathing exercises too. I love my breath work. It calms my anxiety down tremendously. It's such an important part of my personal growth journey. One good one is called box breathing. I do it as part of my yoga. And if you do a good yoga class, even online, they'll teach you how to do the breathing with it. But if you just, like, if you're feeling the anxiety rise up and you want to do something just to quickly calm you down, there's some breathing techniques. One is called box breathing. And it's essentially what you do is for 4 seconds, you take a deep breath in through your nose, count to 4, and then hold your breath for 4 seconds. And then for 4 seconds, breathe out through your mouth. And then for 4 seconds, hold your breath again, and then just repeat it. And if you do that 3 or 4 or 5 times, it can really calm your system down. And sometimes breathe, depending on if you're a particularly high anxiety person like me. It took me a while to have breath work really take hold. But as I did it and committed myself to doing it a few times a day, it becomes now where when I do my breath work, I can really quickly calm my nervous system down. And it's beautiful, great way to do it. I do a 4-7-8 method too, where I breathe in through my nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 7, and then I put my tongue towards the roof of my mouth and breathe out of my mouth for 8 seconds. That's actually my favorite. But you can look both of those up on YouTube, some great videos. So again, all of this is on my website. It's at nourishyourselfwhole.com/resources. And you can download my free guide, Your Path to Vibrant Health. It's a PDF, which you can read. I recorded an MP3 of it, so you could listen if that's easier when you're doing chores or doing yoga or whatever you're doing. And you can learn a lot more about what I've talked about. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter. You can join my email list to keep updated on what I'm doing. I put out a lot of good tips. All these links are on my website. I have a book coming out soon called Nourish Yourself Whole. I wish it were available now, but it's not quite ready. But yeah, thanks for taking the time and listening. Please take good care of yourself and your family and your loved ones right now. There's nothing more important you could do in a time like this than to just be gentle and think of what it is that could bring vibrant health to your body, so that as things pop up, you can really work hard to keep that strong, vital immune system. And feel free to make comments, and I'll try to answer them and let you know whatever I might know about whatever issues are up for you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Take really good care. Lots of love.